Good afternoon, everyone. It is February 14th. It's about 12:30 in the afternoon. Get home from church, had some lunch, and my wife is down over the hill fixing me some white chocolate covered strawberries. Can't wait to get that. She's fixed me a nice, one of my favorite dinners here in a little while. I'm going to make this video. I got a couple of little videos I'm trying to get done between now and turkey season. This one and probably a couple of reviews, probably on my elite bow that I shot this year. Definitely on my saddle and my new muzzleloader, probably the $3 do. It is February 14th, like I said. We got about 2 weeks or so left of squirrel season. But I've been extremely busy at work over the last 3 weeks. Pretty much Sunday's the only day I had. I worked 12 hours yesterday and actually had the opportunity to work today. I turned them down. I was like, no, I'm getting too old for this stuff, and I need at least one day off. So been working over every day and 8 to 12 hours on Saturday, so I've been really busy. I don't know how much more that's going to last. So between the hours working and the weather, I probably won't be getting any squirrel hunting done the rest of the year. I do have a camera up on public land. I need to go move around. I did find some good turkey sign. I want to put it up on top of it. But today is the day that I'm going to start putting out my minerals this year. Last year I got a little bit behind, and if you can see right here, I've got a bucket, and it says Lucky Buck, but there's not Lucky Buck in here. Last year, actually year before last, about halfway through the year, I started making my own minerals, DIY stuff, and this is nothing special or nothing special about the way I make it. I just watched a ton of videos, and probably 95% of them had these 3 ingredients. A couple of them had a few more ingredients. I can't recall right off the top of my head, but just give them a little detail. 2018, I never heard of this stuff before. A guy I know has a small sporting goods shop, and he was telling me about it. And so 2018, I think about March, I bought my first bucket of it and poured it out. At the time, I only had one mineral site, and now I've got 2. I've got one about 150 yards from me this way, and another one about 300-400 yards, probably a little bit closer to 500 yards down over the hill to my left. And they're both where my feeders are. But at the time I only had one in 2018, so I got some of it and I tried it, and the average price on this, I've seen it as low as like 16 or 17 bucks a bucket. I've seen it as high as about $21, $22 a bucket. My average price I was paying was about 20 bucks per bucket, and I think the instructions are your first time pour out the whole bucket, and then about every 60 days to refresh it with like a half a bucket, I think is what it calls for. But that was in 2018. I tried it. I put it out probably, I guess said around March, and I put it out till about July because I noticed the deer activity on it was dying off, so I didn't put any more out. And then in 2019, I decided I maybe want to try my own. But the first couple months, I bought some in February and put a bucket out then. I think I bought another bucket in like April, and then I went and bought some the stuff to make my own, and I put it out the rest of the year, and I still only had the one site at that time, and the deer seemed to like it. Well, last year I decided I was wanting to do 2 mineral sites, and I just strictly went with the stuff that I made, not more Lucky Buck. And the 3 ingredients is Dicalcium phosphate, Trace-Mineralized Salt, and dried molasses. And I picked up all 3 of these in a 50-pound bag at my local, it's about 30-40 minutes from my house, Farm Bureau or co-op or whatever you want to call it. And I paid, I think, $68, $68 for all 3 50-pound bags, where this right here is, like I said, the average for me was like 20 bucks. So, and last year I started 2 mineral sites, and that stuff lasted me all year. I started, I think, in March, and I went until late August, I think, the last time I put any out, and pretty much used it all up. And another thing I want to say real quick, we can only do this on private land. Any kind of federal or state land in West Virginia, I don't know about other states, you can't put out anything. You can't put out any kind of bait, any kind of minerals. You can't put anything out on federal or state land here in West Virginia. So this is private land only. It's kind of like along the lines of baiting. You know, we can bait on private land just for deer only. You can't bait for turkey or bear. You can't bait for turkey or bear. And I do run my feeders, and I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. But I'll go ahead and show you what the bags look like. Here's the Dicalcium Phosphate. Like I said, it comes in a 50-pound bag. And you got your Trace-Mineralized Salt. It comes in a 50-pound bag. And then the dried molasses. Yeah, it may look a little different where you get yours or whatever, but last year I had all three of them, and I kept them. I ain't really got anywhere to store it, so I had to keep them on my front porch. But I had a big extra trash can out on my front porch. So 2 of the bags, being paper, I didn't want to get a moisture or any animals getting into it, so I kept them in the trash bag. And then last year, every time I went to go fill my refreshing my mineral sites, I just kept like a 16-ounce cup out there, and I just put a cup of each in there and started up, a cup of each in there and started. It was kind of tedious and time consuming. So this year, when I got that stuff, I stopped by, I believe it was Family Dollar, and got a big plastic tote with a lid, a locking lid on it. I think it was only like $10 to go ahead and mix it all up in there. And what I did, I took this empty bucket, and I filled it probably about 3/4 to halfway full, and I would dump it into a little bit bigger container, not the one I got to store it in, but a little bit bigger container. And I'd fill it up with the molasses, then I'd fill it up with the salt, and I'd fill it up with dicalcium phosphate and pour it into a little bit bigger container, and just stir it up real good with my hands, and then I would dump it into the big container. Well, I did that until they was all 3 bags was mixed in there pretty good, and ended up, I've got, because I kept several of these buckets for storage buckets, these Lucky Bucks. I got another one on my folder right now. So I ended up with these 2 buckets of this was completely full, and I've got a pretty good sized container on my front porch. It is completely full of this stuff. So I've got 150 pounds of minerals, and it's going to be more than enough for both my sites this year. But this year I'm going to do something a little different. And the years past, I've always stopped around July or August because the deer didn't seem to hit it as hard as what they do in the spring and early summer. But I noticed a couple times at both sites this past year, a lot of the younger deer, especially into October, was going around over, pawing around in the dirt a little bit where my mineral sites were. So this year, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go ahead and just run it year-round. Like I said, today's February 14th, middle of February. I've been wanting to get this up here the last week or two, so I don't want to get it out any later than right now. And I do have both my feeders still going. I'll get to that in a second. And I've got trail cameras on them. I'm going to go ahead and put the trail cameras on my mineral sites today. I'm going to put a full bucket up here and a full bucket down here. And then after today, about every 30 to 45 days, right in that area, 4 to 5 weeks, I'll just bring one full bucket up here, and I'll just dump a half at each spot, and I'll keep it fresh. And I'm going to do this throughout hunting season and everything this year, just to see how the deer react to it and how much they really hit it during the fall. Now, going back to the feeders, I am still running my feeders, and I know you guys that have seen my videos last year or two, know that I'm up here on public land. I do hunt over feeders. Like I said, it's perfectly legal in West Virginia. Some people agree with it, some people might not. Some people might not have an opinion about it. But I always start, our season comes in the last week of September. I always start the first week of September, first week to 10 days of September, I'll put my feeders out. And I'll keep them full, and I'll run them the whole time. Our season goes out December 31st. But I still keep my 2 feeders up here, and I keep them full. And that's actually what I'm going to do right here in a little bit. I come up here every Saturday or Sunday and fill them up. Well, if I know there's a bad snowstorm coming, I'm not going to be able to get up here, I go ahead and come up here ahead of time. But I'm putting out 50 pounds per site each week. I'm putting out 100 pounds of corn each week, and I think it runs, it's about $7.58 a bag, so it runs about 16 bucks a week. But I do this all the way through winter, just not only deer, but there's all kinds of animals up here. And yeah, and I don't know, I'm not trying to, anybody that don't like hunting over bait, I'm not trying to change your mind one way or another. I just thought I'd throw that out there, because I do talk a little bit about my feeders and up here filling them up. So, but I go through 100 pounds every week from now until the end of March. Now, we'll stop at the end of March, because in our regulation book, it says you can't, an area is still considered baited 10 days after the feed is removed. So about that last week of March, I quit putting anything out, and I just let the feeders run out. And that still gives us about 3 weeks before turkey season comes in, because I still hunt in this general area. Now, normally don't hunt right there where the feeder's at. I do hunt right there in that general area, and I'm in a small field right here, and right here is where I do a lot of my hunting, turkey hunting. But I make sure the feed is gone 3 to 4 weeks before turkey season comes in. And to be honest with you, I think I've only gotten like twice this year I've actually got any turkeys on my camera. So, you know, they seem to be a little more around this area, or at least a little more noticeable in the springtime. But I do stop baiting. And I've also heard the argument, people say, you know, you shouldn't feed deer corn through the winter. It does something to the digestive tract. Well, the first time I heard that a few years ago, I kind of believed that. I was like, well, you know, I don't want to be hurting them. I thought I was helping them. But I can jump in my truck right now and take you to, I don't know, 2 or 3 different cornfields within 20, 30 minutes of my house that the DNR is planting. Now, funny thing is, as soon as winter hits, they don't go in there and cut all that corn and take a big vacuum cleaner and cut it up, suck it all out of there. They leave it there all year for the deer. So it's really, in my opinion, no different coming out of a feeder than it is them going into a cornfield needing off a stalk. You know, I don't know. I've just heard that argument a couple times. But if it was that bad, I don't think the DNR would plant cornfields and leave them there through the winter for, you know, deer and any other animal to live on. So anyway, that's just my opinion. But yeah, like I said, this is, I'll take the camera up here and turn it on and show you my mineral sites. I'll say both of these sites I started last year. The one I run for the last year and a half was about 200 yards down the ridge from where I'm at now. But I never did hunt over it during the fall because, like I said, the activity toward about the end of July going into August always seems to die down. So I'm going to jump on the four-wheeler real quick and go up here and fill this feeder up here and check my camera, and I'm going to go ahead and put this out, and I'll bring the camera with me, and I'll show you what up here. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put one full bucket out right now. And about every 30 days or so, I'll bring a full bucket and split it between the two. So this is just another video I've been wanting to get done, and like I said, I'm going to do a review on my saddle, my bow, and probably my muzzleloader over the next month or two. My saddle, I'm really wanting to get up here and set it up in a tree and just show you how I set up at ground level. But I'll probably have to wait till the weather gets a little warmer, so I'll have my wife come up here and run the camera for me. So let's get one here and get this set up. Alright guys, if you can see me here, like I said, this is the spot right here that I started last year. My last spot I did for about 2 years. It was down the ridge there about 200 yards, but I started this one last year, and my feeder is about 10 yards right here behind me, behind the four-wheeler. I'll show you that here in a little bit. My camera's on this tree right here behind me. Probably can't see it in this shot, but anyway guys, it's pretty simple. Just like I said, this stuff, this is what it looks like. This stuff's been mixed up already. So. Plus with the ground being wet, moist like that, it'll get soaked in the ground, but I'm going to go ahead and move. Actually, I don't know, the camera probably pick up the feeder and the mineral site where it's at, but I may move it around to a different spot here. But I'm going to pick the camera up and show you what it looks like underneath my feeder here. It looks like a pig pen up here. So I got this on tripod. I said, right there's my feeder. Right there is one of the trees that I hunted out a lot this past year. There's my 2-man stand. It's going to be coming down here pretty soon. And right there's where my ground blinds sit. And right there's my camera on that tree right there. Like I said, this little bucket's not huge. I don't know how much it actually holds, but I do have 2 of them. Got my other one right there. Just pulls around here. Right there's my camera, and right there's my mineral site. So I'm gonna move it around, and but I don't know how well you can see this right here. This place is just literally tore up with deer tracks and stuff in here. They're here eating this stuff. This feeder right here's got a little bit left in it. Now my other feeder down there, I filled it up last Saturday. It'll be empty because I got them feeding twice a day on like 12 seconds, so it throws out quite a bit of food. My other feeder down there, it'll hold about 45 pounds of feed, and then whatever's left over, I just pour on the ground. It don't last very long. But anyway, guys, I'll go ahead and show you my next mineral site when I get back down to the other spot. Alright guys, this is my second spot. And like I said, I started this site right here last year as well. The first time I had ever had it here. Just a couple old cedar stumps. Been here forever. Poured around. Like I said, neighboring properties just down over here right here. My little feeder is about 10 yards behind you. Probably less than 10 yards. My camera's right there pointing up the feeder. I might keep it on the same tree, just point it down the hill here. And then about 15 yards to my right over here is my sticks that have been up here for the last couple of years. If you recognize this area, this is where actually I shot all my deer at this year. Shot my piebald and my 8-point just over my right shoulder here. And the doe I got with my muzzleloader, shot her right here behind the camera. So same thing. So let's take this bucket like I said, it's pretty much full. Just pour it around. This place right here stays pretty moist too. There's a lot of water sits in it right here too. So I'll just set that right there and I'll put my camera on it and I'll take you up here and show you this right here too. These deer been in here. Let's roll down over the hill. There's my little feeder. Like I said, it's empty now, but it won't hold complete 50 pounds. So whatever's left over, I'll just put on the ground. You can just see how they've got the ground tore up. There's coon tracks in here and birds and I don't know what else eats this, but they got trails coming over through here and coming up the hill here. See right there's my camera and my tree. I don't know if you can see my sticks on that tree. I'll walk over and look. There's my camera. And right there's my sticks on that tree. That was the killing tree this year. And right there's my mineral site. And so I am quite underdressed for this morning. It's quite chilly up here. My hands are getting numb. So I'm going to get that filled up, check this camera and position a little bit better on this mineral site and see how long it takes these deer to hit it. Usually within 24 hours they'll start hitting it. So does good for the does with pregnant does. It's pretty healthy for them as well as bucks. I think it's the Dicalcium Phosphate, if I'm not mistaken, is what really helps the bucks with their antlers. The molasses is just for, what I've heard, the molasses is just more or less for attracting or flavoring because that Dicalcium phosphate's bitter. I don't know. I guess they ask cows or wildlife that eat it. I don't know how they've come up with that, but they said it's got a bitter taste. So the molasses helps with it, and of course the mineral salt. All animals like salt. So anyway, guys, I'll keep you posted on some pictures of this stuff throughout the next couple months, hopefully, and throughout the summer. Check me. I can't talk. Look me up on Instagram on BK Bowhunter. That's all it is. I'm constantly posting trail cam pictures and stuff on there, and sometimes a little short video that don't even make it to YouTube. So, guys, you can check me out on there and follow me back. Hit me, and I'll follow you back. That being said, I'm gonna fill that feeder up and get off the hill. I'm getting cold.